Please be seated. The court is now back in session, and the chamber will give the floor to Kirsten Pond's defense to continue putting questions to this civil party. You have the floor.
Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Sal Singh, I resume my examination, and may I request you to once more listen very attentively to the questions in order to answer them as briefly as possible. Yesterday, in answer to a number of questions put to you by Judge Laveng regarding the Roptabek Dam site, and you said you did work at that site. I understood that that was before the 17th of April 1975. Can you tell the chamber whether it was before the Lonol coup d'etat of 1970 or thereafter?
Answer. As for Roptabek, I worked there in 1971 when I was in youth units.
Je vous remercie de cette précision.
I noted that clarification. During the hearing of the 24th of March, at shortly after 10:09, you did indicate that your father died in 1973. Please tell me whether I properly understood your testimony.
Answer. Yes, that is correct.
Dans le cadre
as part of the experience you had within the Khmer Rouge, did your superiors mention the 12 moral principles or the 12 revolutionary commandments to you?
Yes.
Est-ce qu'il est exact de...
Is it correct to say that among the 12 moral principles or revolutionary commandments, you did not have to commit acts of moral misconduct towards women in particular?
Answer. Yes, that is correct.
Vous avez évoqué le...
You mentioned a woman who was a cadre, who was among the previous staff at Krantachan and who returned to Krantachan as a detainee, and you stated that that was following an act of moral misconduct. Do you know whether that was in application of the 12 moral principles or the 12 revolutionary commands or commandments that she was arrested and detained at the security center?
Answer. Yes, that person had a moral offense. That is why this individual was brought into the security office again.
Tout à l'heure,
a while ago, my learned colleague, I believe that was yesterday, reminded you of a number of statements by Soi Sen, and I understood that you did say that you completely rejected those statements. I will read out to you word for word some of what you said, which was not quoted by my learned colleague, and then I'll put some questions to you thereon. The first quotation of a statement by Sai Sen is in document E319.1.24 in answer to question number 78. And this was the question that was put to Sai Sen. Did the little Deutsch commit crimes? And his answer was as follows. Yes, it was Deutsch who committed the most crimes. He raped a large number of girls from the itinerant unit. He raped them, he killed them, and put M79 bullets in her vagina. Sen was the superior of Deutsch, and he had 12 soldiers under him, including Deutsch himself. End of quote.
Ma prononciation est mauvaise.
My pronunciation is not good, but it would appear that reference is made in these documents to you. My first question to you is as follows. Is it true or false to say that you are the immediate superior of Deutsch with 12 soldiers under your orders?
Answer. I did not have any soldiers below me, and this statement is not true.
Je vous demande de garder.
May I request you to bear in mind what was said regarding the acts committed by Deutsch against a large number of girls from the mobile unit. I will quote another passage from the statement by Sai Sen. In fact, his testimony in the hearing of the 5th of February 2015, a little bit after 11 hours 02. I beg your pardon, says counsel. Is the hearing of the 5th of February 2015, but this time it's shortly after 10 hours 38, and it's E1/217.1. Shortly after midday. It has to do with the rapes and rifle 77 bullets. This is a question that was put to Sai Sen. Let me ask you to clarify what you said yesterday. You said yesterday that a soldier or a guard had raped 2 women from the mobile unit and put 79 bullets in her vagina. Can you tell me the name of the soldier who did this? And Sai Sen's answer was as follows. Yes. It was the little Deutsch and Seng. 2 of them. End of quote. Again, is it true or false to say that you, together with the little Deutsch, committed acts of sexual assault against 2 women and put bullets in their vaginas?
Answer. This statement is not true.
Autre question.
Another question. A while ago, when my learned colleague Kope pointed out these charges that were made against you, you said that it wasn't true and that you denied them, and that if indeed that had been the case, you would have suffered acts of reprisals from members of the population. My question to you, therefore, is as follows. Apart from those charges which we told you were made against you by Sai Sen, within your community, within your district, within the commune and within the region, did you hear any other persons level any such charges against you? That's the first question.
Answer. No one laid any charges against me.
Et est-ce que vous avez entendu
And did you hear any such charges against the little Deutsch?
Answer. I never heard of it.
Je voudrais maintenant
I would now like to broach your statements as a civil party D22/98. And let me point out that I'm particularly interested in the part D, which is in French, and the ERN is 01055-815. The ERN in Khmer is 0035-4360. And the ERN in English is 00379417. On this information sheet on the victim, that's the victim's information sheet, the description of the crimes is requested, and you point out, or in any case it is stated in the form that you signed. You mentioned my imprisonment at Krantachan Center, and in the C part, the ERN is as follows. In French, it is 01055-816. In Khmer, 0035-4361. And lastly, in English, 00379418. In this C part, you specify the harm that you suffered, and it is mentioned that you had headaches and injuries on the right and the left side. I will quote a passage from this statement and then ask my question. It is the last page of the document. The ERN in French is 01055-822. In Khmer, 0035-4366. And in English, 00379422. And this is the explanation you furnish regarding the cause of your injuries, and this is what you stated. My left thigh and left knee are still causing pain because I was wounded during the war as I fought in the army on the side of the Khmer Rouge. End of quote. Free translation. My question is, when were you injured by shells? Do you remember the year and the assignment you held at the time?
Answer. I was wounded in 1973 when I was engaged in the fighting with the Lunol soldier in Takao province.
Donc nous sommes bien d'accord.
So we would agree that the injury you are referring to, the harm that you refer to in your victim's information sheet, has nothing to do with the period when you were at Krantachan.
Answer. Yes, that is true.
Et tout à l'heure,
And a while ago, when you referred to one of the reasons why you applied to be a civil party, you mentioned the death of your father and other members of your family. My first question to you is as follows. Do you have any family members who are detained at Kranta Chan?
Answer. My cousin, that is the son or the daughter of my uncle, was detained at Kranta Chan Security Office.
Et c'était pendant que vous y étiez affecté?
And was that during your assignment at Kranta Chan?
Answer. Yes, that is correct.
Et pourquoi ne l'avez-vous pas mentionné sur votre...
And why did you not mention it on your information sheet?
Answer. I mentioned only about my father when I was in the 204.
Ça ne répond pas à mes questions. Pourquoi?
You haven't answered my question. Why did you not make mention of the other members of your family in the form, since you were talking about the period when you were working at Kranta Chan?
Answer. The reason that I did not name my cousin, it is because I wanted to mention only my father's name in the application.
D'accord. Et
Very well. And you did say a while ago that your father died in 1976. So we agree that he did not die during the time you spent at Kranta Chan. Is that correct?
Answer. In 1973, I was not at Kranta Chan yet.
Monsieur le Président, j'en ai terminé.
Mr. President, I have no further questions for the witness.
President, thank you. You may now proceed, Mr. Kope.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good afternoon. I have a very small correction, I think, to make in relation to what was just being translated. I heard the English translator say 79 bullets, but in English we're actually speaking about M79 grenades. Now it's a technical detail maybe, but I think that the record should reflect that it is not 79 bullets, but M79 grenades.
President, you may now proceed, Judge Lavagna.
Oui, j'aurais une très brève question.
I would have some very brief questions as a follow-up to the questions asked by Counsel Gise. Mr. Civil Party, can you give us the names of your family members who are detained at Kranta Chan and specify what were the family ties you had with those persons and if they died at Kranta Chan?
Answer. The son or the daughter of Puyut and Min Yaj, and his name, he was the former soldier in Lunal period, and he was arrested and killed in Kranta Chan Security Office.
Donc j'ai entendu
I heard a cousin and perhaps a female cousin. Perhaps you can clarify that.
Answer. The child of Busan was there, and the child of Minh Mach was also there.
Donc, j'ai entendu que l'enfant...
I understood that Mignet's child was Punyut, or am I wrong? Or is it Kuyut's child who is called Mignet?
Answer. The child of Minh Mach named Bong Chia. As for Puyut, he was the husband of Minh Mach.
Et comment s'appelait-il?
And how was that person called?
Answer. The one who died was Bong Chia.
Donc, il est mort pendant...
And he died while you were at Klantachan? Did he die of ill health or he was executed? What happened?
Answer. He was executed.
Et vous savez des détails?
And do you know the details of that execution? At what time did that happen? Was that person interrogated and tortured before being executed? What happened exactly?
Answer. I was not aware of the execution when I was in Krangtachan security office. Later on, I heard that he was the former soldier in Lonol period, and he was brought in that place and was killed.
Monsieur Parti Civil,
Mr. Civil Party, I asked you specifically a while ago whether you were present when your cousin or members of your family were at Krantachan, and you said yes. Today, what I'm asking of you is to clarify whether you were there or not. Were they detained before you got to Krantachan, or they were detained while you were at Krantachan?
Answer. I would like to tell the court that I was working in Krantachan security office already. Later on, he was arrested and detained in Krantachan security office. I had been there already.
d'accord.
Very well. The Ta'an or the leadership of the security center know that you were related to those detainees?
Answer. He did not know because no one told him about this.
Bien, je vous remercie. Je n'ai pas d'autres questions.
Very well, I thank you. I have no further questions to put to you.
President, you may now proceed.
Bon. Merci. Juste une question de suivi, parce que je n'ai pas tout compris. Monsieur Sao Tseng, est-ce que vous avez...
Just a follow-up question. I haven't understood everything. Mr. Sao Seng, you said that you understood subsequently that your cousin had been detained and executed at Krantachan. When you say subsequently, was that after you left Krantachan or while you were still at Krantachan? Is that when you heard about it, about the fact that he had been detained there and subsequently executed?
Mr. President, said counsel. President, please wait. Mr. Civil Party, you may now proceed. Civil Party lawyer.
សូមអរគុណ
Civil Party lawyer. Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to interrupt. I am listening to the translation, the Khmer translation, and the Civil Party said that he had arrived in Krang Tachan Security Office, and after that, his cousin arrived in Krang Tachan Security Office, and I would like to tell the court that what I heard from the Civil Party is that he had been there already. After that, his cousin was in.
Je remercie
I thank my learned friend of the Civil Party for trying to clarify the matter. But since Mr. Sao Seng is in the dock, it is simpler for him to be the person to furnish this clarification. I repeat my question because I haven't understood this point. When did Mr. Sao Seng hear of the execution of your cousin? Was it when you were still at Krang Tachan or after you left Krang Tachan that you heard of his execution?
Answer. I was working in Krang Tachan Security Office. Later on, he was arrested and brought into the security office.
jusque-là, je vous ai
Up to that point, I followed what you said, Mr. Sao Seng. My question is, when did you learn of his execution?
Answer. I knew about the execution after I left the security office. I learned that he disappeared and was killed. I did not know when he disappeared and when he was executed.
Et qui vous a fait part de
And who told you of his disappearance?
Answer. No one told me. My cousin was not released to work outside in the area, and I did not see him until I was transferred to be a military or a soldier.
Donc, si je comprends,
So I have properly understood your testimony. It is because he did not tell you that he had been executed. You just inferred that he had been executed because you didn't witness that execution. Is that correct?
Answer. I noticed that when one disappeared from our eyes, this individual could not go anywhere but died.
je repose donc ma question.
Let me rephrase my question, therefore. It was therefore an inference that you made. No one gave you that information. Agreed?
Answer. Yes, that is true.
J'en ai terminé de mes questions.
I have no further questions for the witness or for the civil party, Mr. President.
President, Mr. Sotsang, as a civil party, you will be accorded an opportunity to make a statement of impact regarding the crimes alleged against the two accused, namely Nunchi and Keo Sampon, which were inflicted upon you and which caused you to become a civil party seeking moral and collective reparation. And that includes the damage or the harms to you physically, materially, or emotionally. And if you wish to make that statement, please advise the chamber and you will be given an opportunity, civil party. Mr. President, I'd like to make a statement. I really feel remorse for the loss of the life of my father and my relatives who were killed during the Khmer Rouge regime, and of course I cannot accept their death. And I wish to appeal to all the state institutions that they shall engage in the provision of reparation for different buildings in or throughout the country in order to make the civil parties and the victims satisfied with what they contribute. As a person and as a civil party, I cannot forget what happened. The life was in a very bad situation when I was a soldier. I engaged in the physical fighting while there was an aerial bombardment, and we did not have sufficient food to eat. And what we did was in the hope that the country would be led in a better way for a better future. However, on the contrary, it was in the absolute direction. And I urge the court to find the truth and the evidence as to who was responsible for the killing of my compatriots throughout the country at the time. And I wish everyone involved in the building a better future for Cambodia. President, thank you, Mr. Sotsang, for your valuable time to testify as a civil party during the last 2 days before this chamber, and your testimony will certainly assist in ascertaining the truth. Your testimony has now concluded and you may be excused, so you can return to wherever you wish to, and we wish you a safe journey. Court officer, in collaboration with RISU, please make necessary arrangement for transporting the civil party back to his residence or wherever he wishes to go to. And the chamber is grateful for Mr. Nyam Samnang, a RISU staff, for your assistance provided to the chamber and to this civil party during the last 2 days. And you may be excused as well. And court officer, you are reminded to follow the proceedings and instructions regarding the drawing of the curtain when this civil party leaves. And after the civil party leaves, the partition can be removed. And the AV unit is instructed to link the audio and video proceedings through the public gallery outside, as in the normal practice. Thank you. President, the curtain can be drawn now, and court officer, please invite the civil party Soy San into the courtroom. President, the chamber now proceeds with the hearing of the testimony of civil party Soy San. And as information for civil parties, the concerned parties and the public, that this civil party testified from the 4th to the 6th of February already. However, that section of the testimony related to other staff at Krang Tachan, and then there was a request for a protective measure, and for that reason his testimony was adjourned, and the chamber needed to hear a report by visual as well. However, later on, the civil party changed its mind to withdraw his request for a protective measure, and as a result, the hearing of the testimony of the civil party Soy San is conducted in public. And the combined time for the civil party lead co-lawyers and the prosecution is 1 hour. That is to put questions to this civil party, and you may proceed. And first, the lead co-lawyer for civil parties, you take the floor.
Je vous remercie, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you, Mr. President. It is my colleague Sonari who will put questions to the civil party Soisan.
President, yes, Council Moiswanari, you can proceed. Moiswanari, thank you, Mr. President, and good afternoon, everyone. And good afternoon, Mr. Soisan. I have only a small questions to supplement to what you testified last time. As the President stated, you decided to withdraw your request for a protective measure, and it infers that you don't have any fear anymore. So my first question to you is the following. Can you tell the Chamber the reason that you no longer fear and that you now are willing to provide testimonies in relation to the Khmerus cadres working at Kranta Chan, as well as on the other issues and facts at Kranta Chan? Civil Party. I don't fear anything anymore because I don't worry about anything anymore. Because my testimony has been published nationwide. Council, thank you. And my next line of questioning is in relation to your contact or relationship with the Khmerus cadres working at Kranta Chan. While you were detained at Kranta Chan, what kind of relationship did you have with the Khmerus cadres, namely Little Dutch, Sot Sang, and Tachen, whom you said was the first chief of that prison? Answer. As for Tachen, who was the first chief of that prison, I did not know what he did in his capacity as a chief there. In the end, he left me with some words, as he considered me as his son. That's what I can say about him. Question. And what about an individual named Sot Sang? What was your relationship with him? And what is your current relationship with him? Answer. As for Sot Sang, during that period, and not only for Sot Sang, even for those named individuals, they were absolute. They did what they wanted, and their behaviors at the current regimes are so much different from what they behaved during that regime. Council, thank you. What is your feeling towards the former Khmerus cadres who are still living today? Do you feel hatred toward them? Answer. Despite what they did toward me, despite some of them tortured me or mistreated me, I did not have any bad feeling toward them, because at that time they did what they were ordered to do. And that's what I feel. Council, thank you. And let me go back to the time before you were invited to testify before this court. When you made your decision to testify, did you make that decision at your own will, or were there other factors that compelled you to testify before this chamber? Answer. My decision to testify before this court was not made under any force or coercion. I made my own decision in order to shed light on what happened under the criminal regime so that the young generations know. And I believe some of the members of the court staff here do not go through the terrible period of the regime so that we all can search for the truth. That is my purpose. Counsel, thank you. And this is my last question to you. When you decide to testify in public before this court, besides the fact that you may risk of feeling insecure as you raised last time, what is actually the benefit that you gained from testimony? Is there any gain for you personally or for any individual? Answer. It is my understanding and my decision to testify it by myself, and I don't gain anything. The benefit is for those who were killed or those who died at each province of throughout the country. I act on behalf of those lost souls, and I does not gain anything, and in fact I sacrifice my time to be here. Counsel, thank you, Mr. Civil Party, and thank you, Mr. President. The lead co-lawyers for civil parties do not have any further question for this civil party. President, thank you. And the chamber is now given to the prosecution. Do you have the floor?
Merci, bon après-midi.
Thank you and good afternoon, Mr. President. Good afternoon to all the parties and, of course, to the judges. Same to the civil party. Mr. Civil Party, thanks for coming back to again answer some of our questions. I have a few questions for you. As you, of course, know, after your testimony, many staff members from Krantachan testified before this chamber, including Benchen, Sretan alias Dutch, called Small Dutch at the time, Van Son, that is a messenger at Krantachan. And yesterday and today, we heard the testimony of a civil party called Sot Seng. With the chamber's leave, I would first of all like to show you a document D22/88A, which is South Seng's identity card. Of course, we will not place that document on the screen, Mr. President.
Yes, you may proceed.
Alors, je vous demande de bien regarder la photo.
May I request you to carefully look at the photograph on that identity card? Is the person on that photograph indeed the security guard at Krantachan you referred to before this chamber, whose name was Singh at the time?
Yes, that is correct. That is Sot Sang. He was a soldier.
Bien, alors j'ai une...
Very well. I have a long question to put to you. I'll first of all lay a foundation and refer to a number of statements by that guard, that is Small Deutsch. San Wu Sang, the messenger saying, and Sim was also interviewed by the co-investigating judges. They all confirmed that, with the exception of a few survivors like yourself, including the family of Yenyo, and with the exception of a few transfers of prisoners from Kantachan, all the prisoners were executed, including men, women, and children. They said that some of those prisoners were interrogated and tortured during the interrogations. For instance, Van Sun, the messenger, confirmed on the 4th of March 2015 before this chamber, that is number 1, E/7.1 at about 10:47 to 10:49. He confirmed answer 21 of the record of his interview E319.1.33. In that answer, he states that sometimes they executed children, sometimes they were liberated with their mothers. He admitted before this chamber that the number of children who were released with their mothers was less than 10 in number. Confronted to the statement by Sretan alias Small Deutsch, he said at 10:50 that he agreed with Sretan alias Deutsch to the fact that 99% of the prisoners at Kantachan were eliminated. Another example is South Seng, who said yesterday at about 14 hours 19, and I quote, "As I said, when a mother or father were killed, the children were also eliminated. Or the children disappeared, so I assume that they were also executed." End of quote.
Ces 4 gardes,
Those 4 guards, Small Deutsch, Son, Seng, and Sim, all said that the interrogations and executions were carried out solely by staff members who were members of the prison committee or members of the party or the leadership unit. For instance, Taon, Pen, Chen, Men, Sieng, or the senior Deutsch. Before putting my question to you, I will read out to you a few excerpts of their testimonies, beginning with Sretan alias Deutsch on the 23rd of February 2015. And the document is E1/267.1 at 9 hours 26. This is what he stated, and I quote, "Free translation, my group of 6 persons was not part of the prison staff. We could only mount guard outside of the center. It was the staff of the prison and not ourselves who were in charge of taking the prisoners to the interrogations room, and we subsequently accompanied them to the place of detention." End of quotation. End of quotes. Van Sun on the 3rd of March 2015, and it's a transcript number E1/270.1 at 15 hours 23. This is what he stated. The question was put to him. The question was as follows. You mentioned 3 names, An, Cheng, and Pen. Were the other members of the party also participants during the interrogations, or they did not play any role? Van Sun's answer was as follows. In fact, they took over from one another in carrying out this task. Question: so the 6 members of the party took turns to interrogate the prisoners, is that correct? Answer: yes, that is correct. And Van Sun went on to deny that the 6 guards, the six security guards, of which we were members, monitored the place of interrogation or took prisoners to the interrogation venue. The last 2 quotations are as follows. Van Sun on the 3rd of March 2015 at 15 hours 34. or rather at 11 hours 07 on the 4th of March 2015, this is what Banson stated, 11:07. As far as we were concerned, mounting guard outside was our task. Those who worked inside were in charge of executing the prisoners. That was their task. And at 11 hours 08, he stated as follows. Question, during the execution, do you know who was in charge of the executions or who were the executioners? Answer, it was the 6 members of the party, end of quote. Let me press on before an objection is made by your leave, Mr. President.
With the President, Council Coupe, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm not quite sure what the prosecution is doing other than giving sort of short crash course to this civil party as to what the earlier testimony was. I'm sure I cannot keep up with already the first part of what has been read out. I mean, of course, I have no problem if this civil party is being confronted with a specific excerpt from somebody's testimony, but feeding him all this testimony in 15 minutes during question seems a bit odd to me, notwithstanding the fact that counsel is making closing submissions, it seems, because I have a totally different recollection as to what the guards in fact saw with their own eyes. So I'm happy to continue listening to this, but I don't see any purpose of it. So I object to this line of questioning.
Mr. President, if I may respond, I have not completed my quotations. It is important for me to read them out in order to elicit the reaction of the civil party, because all these people were, of course, confronted by the defense, confronted with the statements of the civil party, and on each occasion the defense suggested that the civil party had lied. So I consider it useful to remind the civil party of what was said before this chamber in order to put my questions to the civil party. May I proceed, Mr. President?
President, the chamber give the floor to Judge Fen to decide on the objection of the party. You may now proceed, Judge Fen.
This is obviously not primarily an issue of law, but of methodology. frankly, I agree. I couldn't keep up with the very, very long time you have quoted now. And I wonder what question could actually be asked that covers everything. Now, I understand. So we would suggest you choose 2 or 3 quotes and then try and get a reaction to it. I guess the reason you're doing it the way you're doing it is to get all the quotes onto the record. Well, there are time limits, so it might be pertinent to choose the most relevant quotes for any given topic you wish to address.
Merci. J'en viens.
Thank you. Mr. Civil Party, let me come to my question now. Do you agree with that security guard, or these security guards in general, that is Seng, Chim, Little Deutsch, Van Soen, when they state that they had no role to play, be it during interrogations, nor in the executions, because their role was exclusively to guard the exterior of Krantachan?
Answer. The statements of those individuals are not true. They were the one who were arrested and killed, but I did not know Van Soen. I did not know this person.
Oui, est-ce que vous avez bien compris que je parlais?
You have indeed understood that I'm talking of the security guard Sot Sen, Sim, the small Deutsch, and Van Soen. According to them, they were members of the same security guard corps at Krantachan.
Answer. I do not agree with the statement of those individuals. After they received the order from the chief of the security office, they were the one who arrested and executed prisoners. And once again, as for Van Soen, I did not know this individual. I didn't know this person.
Oui, pour clarifier, Van Soen.
For purposes of clarification, Van Soen or Son, that person was a messenger at Krantachan. Having given you this pronunciation, or pronounce the name this way, is it clearer for you? Did you know him?
Answer, yes, I knew the person by the name Swan, but I did not the individual by the name Soen.
Pouvez-vous nous dire si parmi le personnel...
Can you tell me whether amongst the staff at Krantachan were members of the Kampuchea Communist Party?
Answer. I knew that Jane and Muon and Big Deutsch was the deputy chief. Jane and Muon were the party members, and Siang was also the party member.
Et qu'en était-il de Ta'an?
About Ta'an, Tapen, were they also members of the party?
Answer. Ta'an was the chief. Tapen was the deputy. Tapen actually was the member, and Big Deutsch was the deputy.
Okay.
Very well. From what you were able to observe, did the security guards Song, the messenger, the Little Deutsch, and Sim as well as Deutsch, or Oak. Were all these security guards under a duty to obey the orders and instructions meted out to them by Ta'an or another member of the prison committee?
Answer. From my observation, the chain sometimes gave order. If it was not from the and then the order would come from the Pin or the chain.
Van Son a confirmé.
Van Son confirmed that they were under a duty to obey the 3rd of March 2015 hearing transcript E1/270.1 at 15 hours 13 to 15 hours 15. This is what he stated. As a subordinate, yes, we had to obey the orders that were given by our command superiors. If we did not obey them, we would be detained in the prison. End of quote. Did you yourself see what happened when a guard did not obey the orders issued by Ta'an, Tapen, or Tachim?
Answer. I did not know about this, and I did not know how the orders was implemented.
Alors, je vais vous demander.
I'll now request you to tell the chamber whether you were able to observe the role of the security guards like South Seng, Little Deutsch, Sim, and Sun, as well as Son, the messenger.
Qu'il devait,
according to Ta'an's orders, or the orders of the prison leadership, were they under duty to accompany newly arrived prisoners from the external perimeter to the house in which the prisoners were detained?
Answer. Yes, I used to see these people went to receive the prisoner at the exterior perimeter. The prisoner were brought by militiamen to the exterior perimeter, and these people went outside to collect prisoners.
Est-ce que vous avez également vu?
Did you also see those security guards watching the prisoners while they were working during the day?
Answer. During that time, I was released to go outside, and I was released to stand guard one or two prisoners who were released to do the farming, and I was standing on the embankment.
Est-ce qu'il arrivait que des gardes...
Did it happen that security guards like Seng Sim, the Little Deutsch, or Son, pardon me, watched prisoners, or you were always the person watching the prisoners?
Answer. These people rotate their duties.
Bien. Est-ce qu'il arrivait à...
Did it also happen that the same security guards escorted the prisoners from the detention house to the place of interrogation in order for them to be interrogated?
Answer. Yes, I saw those events. They rotated their duty. For example, little dodge or seam would accompany the prisoner to the interrogation place for interrogation, and on the other day there would be other individual from the same group accompanying the prisoner to the interrogation place.
Une fois qu'ils étaient au lieu d'interrogation,
And when they arrived at the place of interrogation, and after that, did they return to carry out other tasks, or they would remain there to watch the prisoners while they were being interrogated?
Answer: I was near the interrogation place. There was no chair. There were the woods, the big woods that the guards could sit on those woods to wait for the prisoners. And as for torture, the club would be used, and the soldier would torture the prisoner, and the soldier as well would use the plastic sheet to cover the eyes of the prisoners.
donc quand vous dites les soldats,
When you talk of soldiers, are you referring to those security guards, such as the Little Deutsch, Sim, Sing, and Son?
Answer: yes, the soldier were them. No one else were there. Only these people were there. In short, actually, all people working in Krangdachan Security Office were perpetrators. No one from outside committed crimes. President, it is now time for a break, and we will adjourn from now until 3 p.m. Court officer, please facilitate a proper room for this civil party during the break time, and please invite him back at 3 p.m. The court is now adjourned.